Hello. There's no doubt women entrepreneurs have overcome many obstacles during the past few decades and have achieved great success through owning their own companies. But there are still a few industries in which the gender gap remains large because women have a tough time being taken seriously in them. I'm Nelson Davis, executive producer of Making It. And on today's show, we'll meet a couple of entrepreneurs who not only face the usual challenges of financing and obtaining clients, but they also have had to chisel, sledgehammer, and sometimes bulldoze their way into what used to be thought of as exclusively a man's world. Making It Minority Success Stories. Inspiring personal stories of struggle, triumph, and success from America's small business community.
Hello, and welcome to Making It. I'm Lynette Romero.
And I'm Larry McCormick. Thank you for joining us.
Now, do you know what the fastest growing industry is for women entrepreneurs? Here's a hint. Think hard hats instead of hairspray and steel-toed boots instead of spike heels. It's the field of construction, about the most macho business you can think of.
Despite the tough-as-nails image of foremen and crew bosses, the number of women who own construction firms has jumped 35% in the past 5 years, according to the Center for Women's Business Research.
Most jobs for women in the industry, though, are still secretarial and administrative. That is the way Sharon Coleman got her start.
Then one day, on a dare from friends, she took the contractor's license test and passed it with flying colors. And though she hadn't planned it out, Sharon was on her way to owning her own business. But now she had to take classes to learn how to actually run a business.
Next, she had to obtain financing and find clients. As Iomara Galindo reports, Sharon also had to learn how to break down walls and break through to achieving success in a man's world.
Overview of Coleman Construction. I'm a general licensed A and B contractor, which means I can do streets and buildings. Our basic specialty is carpentry work, and we do quite a few carpentry projects. And our portfolio of projects could range anywhere from, depending on the size of the projects, 10 to 50 projects a year. I have right now about 8 employees.
You have a very interesting story of how you started the company. After being laid off of your job of 4 years, you began this. Tell me about that.
I've always been in construction for some time or another. I had some friends of mine who would always tell me if they see me out in the streets, you ought to take your test. You ought to take your test. And so one day said, you could take your test, you could pass it, it's simple. It took me probably about 4 weeks to intensively study for the test. And I took the test and passed and was shocked. After I passed my test, they ask you, what would you like the name of your company to be?
Right then and there?
Right then and there. And, but they give you a couple of days to actually make a decision. But I was still in such a state of shock that I just gave them my name. That's how Coleman Construction got started.
What would you say specifically in your previous construction experience prepared you to launch your own company?
When I first got into construction, I was actually a project manager. And from project manager, I went to superintendent. And that is what prepared me and gave me the knowledge of the construction industry to feel comfortable enough to continue with my company.
Once you got your actual construction license, how did you get the funding to start Coleman Construction?
My startup money actually came from my projects. I financed my company basically through my projects, and then when I started taking bigger projects, then I went to PCR and I got a loan, a small business loan.
How do you get paid?
Really depends on the actual circumstances of the job. If you are working as a subcontractor in the industry, you get paid when your general gets paid. Or if you are doing commercial work, you do the work first, then you invoice upon when you're paid. I mean, the progress of your work, and then you get paid on that.
More and more women have companies in the construction business. What is it like to be in a field that for so long has been thought of as a man's world?
I've had to go to meetings of which I sit in the meeting, but my project manager or my foreman does the talking. But if you need the project, that's what you have to do. So sometimes you don't get the respect as a woman doing the job, because I mean, it's a man's industry. Yes, it's true, and it is some female contractors out here that's doing very well.
Would you say that's the most difficult thing about your business then?
No, funding is always the difficult thing about any business. Funding would be, you don't seem to fund as fast as you grow. So funding is always an issue, especially in small businesses.
Have there been any obstacles that you've recently overcome?
Yeah, I guess so. I am what they call an 8A contractor, which is a SBA 8A contractor, which is a government contractor. And I am now doing business in 2 other states other than here. So I'm doing business in Florida and I'm doing business in Georgia.
How are you growing your business?
I am growing my business by doing a combination of some things that I didn't do in the past. I'm concentrating more on government work and more private work. Before I was doing more public and commercial work. I did a lot of churches in the past, so now I'm trying to move back into the arena of which I am the general contractor instead of the subcontractor.
Sharon, how has being president of the National Association of Minority Contractors of Southern California helped you?
It helped me in a way to let me know that I'm not the only one struggling, whether I'm a woman or not. That's number one. Number two, it puts me in an arena to stay up to date on the changes that are coming down for construction so I can better prepare for my business. You get to network with a lot of corporations that are doing construction and construction managers who are in charge of projects, and they let you know projects while they're still on the drawing board.
Boy, she's honest. Funding, that's the biggest problem.
I don't see too many people stopping her, do you?
Yeah, no.
I don't think so.
Very interesting. Well, Sharon is continuing to network to get government contracts and commercial work. She says construction is a very difficult industry. Not just for women, it's difficult for men too.
Sharon says she shines the brightest when it comes to interacting with both employees and clients. Now, in Secrets of Success, we have the Executive Director of Fame Renaissance, the Reverend Mark Whitlock. He says, if your business isn't shiny enough, you better get some polish.
You know what? In business, every day is not going to be a shining day. There's going to be some dark days. But how do you handle the dark days so that they may shine? Well, you know what? You got to buy some polish. That means use the polish to shine up your business. Yeah. That means polish up your skills. Go back to school. Talk to some experts. Make sure that you practice each day. Polish up your environment of your business. Make sure your business is spanking clean, that your product is shining, that your environment is clean, that your desk is uncluttered, that your pictures are straight. Polish up your product, yeah. Your product should outshine the competition. You should know your product down. Finally, polish up your vision. If it's working, keep working at that vision. But if it's a failure, don't focus on it. Next day, wake up and realize that your light will shine if you keep shining inside.
Words to live by. To learn more about Fame Renaissance and the business programs they offer, you can call area code 323-730-7700. And for more Secrets of Success, you can log on to our website at www.makingittv.com.
And coming up next, one of the toughest jobs in construction is keeping projects on time and within budget. We'll find out how Rebecca Barantes does it when we return.
Where small business is the big idea, making it.
And here's how you can get in touch with the entrepreneurs you've met on today's show. You can reach Sharon Coleman of Coleman Construction at 323-295-5484. And you can contact Rebecca Barantes of the Sierra Group at 562-463-0042.